Hello and welcome to another Brawl video. This week I let my supporters on Patreon decide on which of the 4 snow commanders I should feature to help complete the ongoing Blizzard Brawl achievement, and the vote went to Svella, Ice Shaper. This 3 mana 2/4 can spend 3 mana, tap to make an Icy Manalith token, which is a token that can make a mana of any color, and then once we build up enough mana we can activate Svella for 8 mana to look at the top 4 cards of our library, and then we may cast any spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Important to note here, we get to cast the spell, which also means we get to enable any cast triggers of some of the huge Eldrazi that we might find among the top 4 cards. So then if we take a very brief look at the deck breakdown, it's going to be a lot of early mana acceleration to build up enough mana where we can activate Svella or maybe hardcast some of these huge spells. And then because it's the holiday season and I'm feeling generous, I'm sharing a lot of mana with my opponents as well, as I'm playing both Mana Flare and Heartbeat of Spring, which are both ways to double the mana produced by our lanes. So because we have a lot of ramp cards that put additional lanes in play, we'll be able to take full advantage of those abilities to hopefully hardcast some of those huge Eldrazi as well. So that's just a quick rundown of the deck. If you want a more detailed breakdown, the deck list is in the description. But for now, let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the draw, facing Hei Bai, 5-color shrines. Our hand's got potential. We've got a Grazer plus Flare of Cultivation, which is how we want to start. And then Heartbeat to double our mana. Of course, it is a double-edged sword. But this is pretty much our ideal turn 1. Opponent's got some ramp as well, so they would be able to play Hei Bai next turn regardless. So then I may as well go Heartbeat into Rampant Growth and set myself up to cast my bigger finishers. So, free mana for everyone. Opponent's got a Hei Bai. 3 mana left that they could use. And they hit Sanctum of Stone Fangs, so it could have been worse. And the Fruitful Harvest is next. Alright, we're not too far from casting the Promised End. So for now, this is 10 mana. What happens if I play Nyx Bloom? If I tap a permanent for mana, produces 3 times as much. What does this say exactly? Adds 1 mana of any type. So I don't think these two necessarily stack in a great way. So yeah, I think I gotta play the Leveler, but I can play Arcane Signet as well. Taking out Hei Bai doesn't slow them down too much, since they can just recast it for 6 mana. Yeah, this is also just free mana, which they don't really need. So I think taking out Hei Bai still makes sense. But at some point I do want to go after their enchantments. So Hei Bai is back. I'm bringing with Honden of Infinite Rage. I get to untap, and yeah, we could cast the Promised End here. Opponent could still have a counter spell up. So I'll start by attacking, go after Hei Bai again. They might have a way to save it. Airbending Lesson to airbend it, fair enough. So only 2 mana to redeploy. They don't get the Power Stone. And now they're nice and tapped out, so we can Emrakul them. Oh no, I can't stop hitting myself. Mindstone Beyond the Quiet. Don't really want to cast that one. I can Beast Within their own enchantment. And this can destroy a creature, exile non-token creature. So we can sort of waste this. But yeah, I'm thinking if I want to play Hei Bai or not. I guess I can, and then destroy target creature if no other creature has greater power. Yeah, I guess I cannot target Hei Bai with that ability. I can sack the Mind Stone. See what we get. Ooh, swords. Okay, so now I'm liking Hei Bai. Can I fail to put something in play? I may put, so I'm gonna decline. And then, let's see here, go full control. I can also fail to find with a rampant growth. But yeah, first I want a Gateway Express. And then in response, I'm gonna wanna Swords to Plowshares Hei Bai. And then we're not gonna send it back to the command zone. So it stays exiled forever. And then I can still Rampant Growth, fail to find. Oops, I did not find any lanes. And then Beast Within, which one's scariest here? Probably the Stone Fangs. Suppose I also could have flickered the token. No, never mind, it says non-token creature. So I could not have flickered the beast to get rid of it. Now they do still have Beyond the Quiet, so that will get rid of my stuff. But so be it. They don't have a commander anymore. Xenagos is pretty spicy, but Itali's gotta be the better starting point. Let's see, can we play Nyx Bloom and then still play Itali? I think I can. Even Mind Sensor in response, so that's going to maybe prevent some search effects from being effective. And Soul Herder and Lanor Elves, yeah, Soul Herder seems pretty good with my Itali. So we get to trigger it again. Finding Archon and Halfling. Don't think I actually want Archon in play. So Infinite Rage can take out one of my elves, but goes for Soul Herder. Also makes sense. Just a land for the opponents. And they're hanging in there. They're maybe curious to find out what's next. But I think it's just going to be Xenagos, transform Itali, and that should be game over. Could get Svella down just because. Go to attacks. And smash. That's going to be lethal poison damage and regular damage all at once. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, and it's the mirror match. This hand, strangely, cannot play Birds of Paradise on turn 1, so then it's a lot less exciting. Although I guess on turn 2 is still okay. Sure. Opponent does have the Halfling. Alright, now I do get to play the birds. Turn 2 Svella, turn 3 Invasion is a little bit better. Never mind, opponent takes out the bird. So Svella into invasion still the plan. Just gonna be a turn late. Do have some nice 7 drops, so as long as I can keep hitting my land drop, I can curve invasion into Voltborn probably for starters. And then we get to draw more cards afterwards. Opponent with a cheering crowd. Okay, I guess I'll make use of that so I can invasion right now. And don't mind if I do. So our opponent gets 2 mana. Levels up Bard class. So they can play 1 mana Svella. Titan of Industry could take out the Bard class. Yeah, I think I'm still down to make additional mana. I would get 3. I mean, at this point, do I still care about Bard class? Depends if their deck is all legendaries, but I kinda doubt it. So maybe I'm still better off going for Voltborn first. And Rhythm for haste. And Svella activates. Finding Clothis. Pretty good, but still survivable. And I'll take 6. I get to make use of the mana, cast Ulamog to get rid of it. And we'll be on our merry way. Yeah, it's gotta be Ulamog here. Exile the crowd, and then maybe a Redshift, since that discounts Svella. Can still play my own Svella, I suppose, over Flare. And then Ulamog can block Clothis just fine. So now our opponent's pretty far from activating Svella. It was tempting to exile Clothis, because I wouldn't be able to destroy it with the Titan of Industry. But I don't mind it if it gets to a bit of a board stall and we get to activate Svella a few more times. And now Breakout. Opponent's got options. And yeah, at the very least they can still make a Manalith. So next turn we could see them spin the wheel with Svella once again. And Xenagos in hand, that's a scary one. They can still cast it thanks to the discount from Bard class. Another indestructible enchantment. But yeah, attacking with Clothis doesn't accomplish too much. I guess with Xenagos we'll be taking 7. Yeah, that seems acceptable. Okay. So gotta go for Titan, as opposed to risking it on Svella. Can take out either Rhythm or Bard class, and then making a token triggers Voltborn Tyrants. So what's scarier here? Probably the Bard class, and Xenagos can already give haste. Can still play the Priest. Not sure if I'm better off just sacking it to the Flare here. Okay, and then I think I keep Ulamog back. Could start milling my opponent, but it's going to be a slow process. And so far, just looking at the two decks, I feel like my hits with Svella are going to be a bit better. We seem to have a higher curve. So if the game goes long, it should technically favor me. But we'll see. Roxanne's a good one, especially with haste. So they might go after my Svella. Yep. Svella down, but I get to eat Roxanne. And then, let's see here. Could always block with Tyrant to make the token, which will draw again, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Alright, Heartbeats now doubles the mana. And I definitely have more lanes in play than my opponents, so that might be worth it. Clothes does make it difficult to leverage the shifting woodland, however. But yeah, I think I'm down. Let's get spicy. I can play Sire. Ooh, I still? Do we have any fetch lanes? I do not. But I can still play it, maybe mill some extra lanes. And then I do want to get Svella down. And then still no attacks. Opponent probably gets rid of Voltborn Tyrant, otherwise we could maybe copy it with a Shifting Woodland. This I can also cast with Kicker to give my team extra counters. And we'll see what Svella hits. Another mana creature. And our opponent's going to stop attacking. Okay, so now it's my turn to activate Svella. Finding nothing too exciting, probably go for Rhythm. And then I can still Vastwood Surge with Kicker. Don't have many basics left. And I can actually get the Fanatic back. Still no Delirium for Shifting Woodlands. Ooh, Nyxbloom Ancient, even more mana. Draws off my Tyrant as well. And I'm in a spot where I can set up a big attack. We're getting close. But for now I'll still go for a +1 counter. So any good attacks. Opponent does have 2 large indestructible creatures back on defense. This does have Menace, but they could double block. I'm at 24. Yeah, we're getting close to an all-out attack. Might actually be worth it. Double block Sire. Still have enough blockers back where I shouldn't be in danger. Unless they hit a Craterhoof Behemoth, then all bets are off. So what do we get? The Trash Tactician. And our opponent scoops it up. I'll take it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have a pretty slow hand, I would say. Turn 1 Sprawl is nice. We have a turn 3 Vastwood Surge, but then a few too many Curve Toppers. Alright, this is a bit more balanced. Turn 1 Stomping Ground Lanor Elves. Turn 2, and we have options. Opponent on Grist, so maybe insects. Their commander does give them kind of a built-in removal spell. So it's going to be tricky for Svella to survive too long. Now that we drew a fetch, I probably wait on Provisioner, so we can play a fetch land afterwards. Which means either Heartbeat or Glimpse. Heartbeat might be more effective once I have a few more lands in play. So the safest move, I guess, could also just be to play Svella. Might regret it if they take out Elves, because then I cannot go Provisioner into fetch land anymore. Okay, so we get to do that now. And then Glimpse also makes an extra treasure. So we got our value. And I guess I'll attack. So yeah, now I can maybe play Heartbeat without tapping any of my lanes, and then still be able to activate Svella. We'll see what Grist does. Just gonna plus, milling their own Provisioner. Okay, so definitely gonna play another fetch. And then, yeah, not hating the idea of playing Heartbeat first. And then I can activate Svella. And see where we end up. Portal to Phyrexia seems pretty nice here, so does Thorn Mammoth. I'll go for Portal. Clean up your creatures, can attack Grist. And I guess we'll play the Dragonstorm while we're here. Our opponent does also benefit from Heartbeat of Spring next turn. But hopefully Svella is going to be the better mana sink. If they keep milling with Grist, they're also setting up the portal for me. Now Barrogoyf. And Nantuko. So that can make additional copies of it, potentially. Yeah, that's pretty good. For now, get back Provisioner. Okay, so yeah, kind of have to hope for a good Svella activation, because I don't have much else going on. Italic's pretty good. Finding Eldritch Evolution and Lotus Cobra. So I can sacrifice Itali and get a 9-drop potentially. Yeah, that seems good. And then we can get Itali back with Portal. And then how about Craterhoof Behemoth? Would that be lethal already? Should have let Cobra resolve first. Yeah, Behemoth with 5 creatures in play, although only 3 of them can attack. Yeah, I don't think Behemoth is quite game over here. Thorn Mammoth fighting isn't the best when they have Lifelink and Death Touch. Could go for Woodfall Primus just to destroy some of their lands to slow them down. Can also hit their enchantments, so they can make extra copies. Or summon Bahamut can just destroy their thing in the first place. That's maybe still better. Just take out the Goyf. Also returns the Dragon Storm, because it's a dragon. And our opponent's gonna scoop it up. Alright, that was a pretty good turn, with Portal getting back a tally next turn, Bahamut getting to do more things. Sweet, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the play, facing Narfi, Betrayer King, gets a 1 mana discount in Brawl. It's another one of the Snow Commanders. This hand is a little spicy with a mana flare, but we should be able to take advantage of it. Yeah, I'll try it. Turn 3 mana flare can set up turn 4 Tyrant, maybe turn 5 Ulamog. Expecting mostly a zombie creature deck. Stitcher Supplier will fill the graveyard. Nothing too scary. So I get to surveil end of turn. Yeah, I'll maybe keep the forest, although I already have 5 lanes, so maybe that's overkill. Yeah, I'll still mana flare. We've got a curve. If they counter this, next turn we get to invasion, so that's fine. Now they can already play Narfi if they'd like. But hopefully we can overpower them. So our opponent has 6 mana. Worst case scenario, they can use the mana to progress their board while also answering mana flare. But in blue-black there's not too many great answers to enchantments, other than maybe some blue bounce spells. It's going to be a Deathless Pilot into Narfi. So not too bad. Emrakul's looking good. Can keep this train rolling. Voltborn and Ulamog into Emrakul. Obnixilis can destroy creature. I would still get the extra token from it. So that's acceptable. How about another Emrakul? I do lose a bit of life. Itali's not bad either. So we've got an embarrassment of riches. If I cast the Ceaseless Hunger on their 2 lanes, they would probably concede. So now I have to gauge whether or not I want the game to go on for a bit longer, or if I just put them out of their misery. Heartbeat of Spring, eh? Well, that's an interesting card. So if I play Heartbeat, these now all make 3 mana, so I can still play Ulamog. So then I wouldn't want my opponent having access to 9 mana. And we'll pass it back. So their 1 swamp still taps for a lot of mana. They found a land at least. So our opponent's gonna soldier on. Opponent's looking at the graveyard. Maybe they've got a delve spell. For now, taking out the Tyrant token. Opponent says good game. They have given us a lot of cards, to be fair. And our opponent's gonna scoop it up. Alright, I'll take it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw, facing the God of Winter. Another one of the Snow Commanders you can play for the achievement. Our hand seems good. Turn 1 Utopian Sprawl, turn 2 either Svella or Rhythm. And then we've got a pretty nice curve of large green creatures. Titan ramps into the bigger stuff. Opponent maybe on an Elves hybrid. So if I go for Svella, next turn I can already activate to make a Manolith, which seems better than having a Rhythm in play, although Rhythm giving Titan haste is also quite good. Now Priest of Titania, that could go off and make a lot of mana. Have a couple Elves myself. So, still in favor of just activating Svella. And then next turn I can just cast Primeval Titan. Dwinen's Elite, very good with a Priest of Titania. So our opponent seems to be just mono-green. Yeah, an Elf Ball deck. Could give us some trouble. And a Tyvar's a perfect mana sink. So, yeah, I might just die in a turn or two. Still get to surveil. Could also not fetch to save myself a damage since we have Yavimaya coming up. But maybe I can find some creature interaction to deal with the priest. Well, Ulamog eventually deals with it, so I guess I could keep that. But for now it's gotta be Primeval Titan. Get Castle Garenbrig. Could get Arena of Glory for haste, but at this point we just want additional mana. And then I could get Eldrazi Temple to help with that as well. Sure. Or I could have gotten Ugin's Labyrinth exiling Ulamog, but I think Ulamog is the card I most want to cast. This Ulamog destroys instead of exiles, so still not a great answer to Tyvar. But if we can deal with the priest, Tyvar's less of a concern. Ooh, Nissa. That can set up an overrun. Is that lethal? Getting close to it. Especially next turn if they can first -7 Nissa and then pump with Tyvar, but they even had a way to untap Priest of Titania, wow. So now we should just be dead. Ultimate Nissa, and then you can still activate Tyvar's ability as a 9/9. Nope, opponent's just gonna attack with a priest. Well, I mean, that's still pretty effective here. Everything tramples. So I'm pretty sure we're still dead. Yeah, Priest of Titania did a number on us. That's the downside of not having any creature removal. And more pump spells. GG's. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw, facing Avatar Aang, can be a 4 or 5 color deck. Our hand's a little too top heavy, so let's try something else. Okay, this I can get behind. Turn 1 Utopia Sprawl, turn 2 Svella, turn 3 Dragonstorm. Plenty of answers for enchantments and artifacts as well. Opponent has a Mana Tithe, alright. No Svella. And a Grim Tutor, so probably going for Moon Mist if they're heavy on the black and tutor effects. It's just so they can easily transform Aang. And yeah, my deck doesn't have a lot of removal, so they might be able to transform it. Possible they got something else. Could have also gotten something like a Cinder Glade. With my fetch lands, can do so with the next one maybe. But yeah, if they play Aang, I can just Thorn Mammoth it. So that's a pretty clean answer. Nothing to exile with a Labyrinth, but can maybe save the fetch lane for landfall purposes. So if they did get Moon Mist, now they'll have to wait a few more turns to set that up. And they need to deal with the Mammoth in the meantime. Woodfall Primus can also destroy lanes, by the way, so that's pretty effective. Let me start by attacking. Opponent might be sitting on some counter spells. So Woodfall Primus is the only card that can really prevent them from casting Aang. So maybe I should still try and go for it. Even if they remove the Mammoth, sure, we don't get to fight. Alright, Primus resolves. So we get to fight Tamio and blow up Command Tower. And our opponent's got a Appropriation. Okay, so yeah, exiling the Persist card here means I don't get it back. But our opponent's still set back on mana. 8 mana for them to redeploy, so won't see that for a while. And there's a Renan 6. So once again attack. Don't have to play Titan of Industry since there's nothing to fight with a Mammoth at the moment. So could maybe start with an innocuous Renan 6. And then go for escape. A Ren resolves. Still gonna plus for now. Okay, Ulamog, Crater Hoof Behemoth, these are all pretty great. And Exploration is very good with Renan 6 as well. And our opponent's gonna scoop it up, I'll take it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, facing Firelord Azula. So, Grixis Flash, can expect lots of removal. Birds probably not gonna survive, and then this hand quickly falls apart. So I'll take a mulligan. We've got all the Eldrazi. Uggin's Labyrinth does help, so maybe this is actually good enough. And then I think we're pitching Emrakul. Could wait a turn on it, I suppose. Opponent with a turn 1 Ragavan, that's too bad. Alright, does that change anything? Still can't play Svella, even with Uggin's Labyrinth. So I guess I could wait. For now, fetch. Can surveil either before or after Ragavan hits us. I think I would rather set up my own draw step. Opponent exiles a land. Okay. And a Flare of Cultivation's probably fine. So exile probably Emrakul still. Although I could see the ability being useful. Maybe better than 11 mana Ulamog, since we're pretty much there. And then I can either Migration Path or try and play Svella to block. But our opponent's most likely going to have a removal spell for it, so... Next turn I can go Flare plus Svella. I still would have been very nice to find. Now our opponent gets to play Azula. Okay. Try Svella. So we're not too far from casting Ulamog and Emrakul. But now our opponent gets to go off with Azula. And double the Nightbonder. And Frantic Search, also pretty nice here. So that actually nets the mana. So 3 cards in hand. They didn't make any blue, so maybe they're not drawing more cards. Sheoldred's Edict will get Svella. Debating whether or not I let Svella go to the graveyard, just to have an extra type for Delirium. Probably still better to send to the command zone. And Ragavan finds Gwenna, in which they will play. Sire would be a pretty good way to stabilize, so we'll try that. They already used their Edict, but they have the life to spare to just target it. Alright, opponent did not have an attack that turn, that's great. So, can start by attacking. See what happens. We get to gain 7. Possible our opponent sitting on a counter spell. Something like a Redirect Lightning could also be quite punishing. Although, let's see, this exiles 2 target permanents, in which I don't think they can redirect. So we'll hit Azula and probably Gwenna. And wow, opponent scoops it up, so didn't even need to show them the biggest Eldrazi. We still managed to get there. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw. Time for another Svella mirror match. What do we think of our hands? Missing turn 1 green for Elvish Mystic. Turn 2 I'll have green for Farseek. And then we're off to the races, so I actually don't hate this. Despite not having the Mystic right away. Farseek can get Surveil lands. And yeah, kind of just want to keep a land on top, especially after drawing the Grazer. Escape can put more lands in play. But for now we'll just cast a Vastwood Surge, I think. Opponent with a Spinning Wheel. And yeah, I've got options. Could wait another turn on Escape. This turn go Svella, maybe a Rhythm as well. And Svella with a +1 counter, I think, over Haste. Elvish Mystic, I could give Haste so I can put in Arboreal Grazer, but that also doesn't accomplish a whole lot. So I'll go for a counter. So next turn, I could already activate Svella's second ability. It's gonna be a Ruby. Into a Ring. Okay, I think it's go time, so activate Svella. Finding probably a Xenagos over Heartbeat. Heartbeat could be a bit risky since our opponents could take advantage of all that mana. Xenagos is a creature, so that's convenient. Play the Grazer with a counter. And then I guess we'll attack with a Grazer here for 2. Still have a nice leftover in Escape to the Wilds. Although activating Svella might be more exciting, because we can immediately cast some huge Eldrazi. For now, more mana creatures. And Svella. So next turn they could also activate Svella's second ability. Also can't forget about the ring tapping our stuff down, such as our Primeval Titan. Because I have Xenagos, I don't need to worry about the Arena of Glory. So if I try and cast the Titan, I wouldn't be able to escape. But if I escape first and I hit 2 lands, I can still play Titan afterwards. So I guess this is a good escape turn. And I hit the lanes. Could also go for Roxanne, which would be quite good. Take out Ruby. Could even go Provisioner, play 2 lanes. And then still play Roxanne. Yeah, given that they're probably going to tap my stuff down anyways, I guess that's fine. And then we don't need to give Roxanne haste, because Xenagos can give it haste. Opponent's gonna tap it down. Still taking out Ruby. And then now Xenagos can target Provisioner. Okay. Still a pretty good turn. Woodfall Primus as a leftover. I can also blow up some of their artifacts. Opponent down to 7. Maybe just trying to complete some achievements on the way out, who knows. It's gonna be a Fumarole, taking out Roxanne, getting some mana in return. And now Reclamation Sage could also blow up our enchantments. Okay. Opponent's hanging in there. But yeah, Woodfall Primus is still probably going to be too much for them to handle, and our opponent scoops it up. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have a pretty slow start and some very expensive spells up against 5-color shrines, so take my mulligan. This I can keep. So turn 1 can go Exploration into Elvish Mystic. I'm already out of lanes, which is often the problem with Exploration. But we do have some combos with it, mainly the I Still Explore. And Renin 6 to get back fetch lanes is also quite good with it. Okay, now that being said, I can already make some moves, but yeah, let's go Mana Flare into Fanatic. And then next turn we can Primeval Titan. And before you know it, we're activating Svella. Our opponent can already play Hei Bai. It's gonna be a Sithis for starters. A good way to make use of all that extra mana if you can pair it with a lot of card draw. And Enchantress's Presence. Okay, so opponent's not gonna run out of cards. Ooh, Ulamog, that's a good one. So I can Primeval Titan. Fanatic will tap for enough to make 4 mana. Yeah, should be able to play Primeval Titan and still play Svella, which is the goal here. And then Primeval Titan could go for Arena for haste. And maybe Raging Ravine as an extra threat. And wow, opponent's already gonna scoop it up here. But yeah, I would still be able to play Svella, and then next turn I can Ulamog with haste, thanks to the Arena, and potentially even look into activating Svella as well. So we get to see this red-green Svella ramp deck in action, And the Brawl queue is a little special right now, seeing a lot of the Snow Commanders for obvious reasons. A lot of Hei Bai, the 5-color Shrine deck, is very popular, so you're maybe not getting the widest variety of matchups, but if you just want to complete the achievement and have some fun casting some huge spells, Svella is not a bad way to do it. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's gameplay. Want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.